is the program director at the Oakland Leaf Foundation. Oakland Leaf cultivates community transformation through creative education for youth and families. Their goal is to give youth and their parents the resources they need to become agents of positive change in their community. Alex will introduce the youth from their program and ask them to join us to bring a youth perspective to today's discussion. Please help me welcome Alex Vila.
Good afternoon. I was leaving my consultancy, and my wife asked me to run her after-school program for 3 months while I hire the new coordinator and then pass it back. That 3 months turned into 6 years. It almost destroyed my marriage, but I'm very proud of what I'm about to introduce. If I would have introduced these young people by the system, this chair will be empty. Ben was one of the 25 names given to me in the incoming 9th grade in Life Academy in the dropout prevention list. The Office of Julia Ma and the Oakland Unified School District sent to all of the providers a list of kids based on the behaviors, attendance, and academics that most likely will drop out. Ben was in those lists. Ben, in the system of the United States, is considered to be an undocumented, worse, illegal. Ben was considered dropping out of high school at the end of his 9th grade, and he was dabbling into gang work. Ben didn't speak one word of English, even though he knew how to speak English, because he refused to assimilate to this country. And if the system wouldn't have had the way with Ben, Ben wouldn't have been in prison by now, and this chair will be empty. In 10th grade, that same year, I met Blanca, and if Blanca had the story of the system, Blanca would have got pregnant by the 11th grade. Blanca wouldn't have been able to graduate because she would have been sent to those pregnant girls' school. Blanca was dabbling into abuse of alcohol and drugs. Blanca, at the age of 4, left her mother behind in Mexico to be raised by her father here, and her father remarried and decided that the old family couldn't feed her new family, so she couch surfed most of her teen years. If the system would have never responded to the needs of Blanca, Blanca probably will be a welfare recipient right now. If we teach real life skills, it is a pleasure to introduce to you Benjamin Adrian Gonzalez. He graduated from Life Academy in 2013. He is the co-founder of Little Life Middle School Program. He is attending as a sophomore for East Bay, Cal State of the East Bay, majoring in criminal justice with a minor in youth development. And he is working for me at Bret Harte Middle School as a program instructor, being the second in command. Everybody welcome what the odds breaking the system is, Benjamin Gonzalez. Wait. It is a pleasure to introduce to me, beating the odds, graduating from 2012 from Life Academy, Blanca Burciaga. She is the second in command of Learning Without Limits. She goes to Mary College. She has declared to be a teacher and educator when she graduates from college. And she's also the co-founder of not just the summer program on Life Academy, but she's the co-founder of the middle school after school program. Ladies and gentlemen, cognitive skills are important. Character and emotional learning beats the odds. It's a pleasure to introduce to you Blanca and Ben.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay, so I'm Blanca and this is Ben, and we are not going to talk up here for 20 minutes. No. we're going to play a game with you guys. It's been a long day. So the game we're going to play is called Back to Back. So I'm going to ask all of you to stand up in a minute, not yet. And we are going to play this game that I just said, back to back. Basically, what we're going to do, we're going to stand up. We're going to walk around. We're going to walk around. And when I say time, you're going to find a person, someone you don't know, you've never seen before. And you are going to stand back to them. I'm going to ask a question. You're going to turn around, and you're going to answer it. Okay? So I'm going to have Alex do a little example with you guys before we do the real deal. Okay?
So this is for practice, not for real. Okay? So stand up, push your chair in, please. Find a person next to you, back to back. Find a person next to you, back to back. Find a person next to you, back to back. In a minute, back to back. Everybody, okay. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself by the nickname that you would give yourself if you were a superstar. And you're going to say what kind of superstar you will be. Okay? So, for example, I will introduce myself as La Gordita, which in Spanish means the little fat one. Trust me, it sounds cuter in Spanish. So La Gordita will be a reggaeton superstar. Okay? So now that you know, you're going to introduce yourself by the nickname that you will give yourself if you were a superstar. And what will be the medium? The person that is a little bit more gordita, that has more love to give. You know, that it has a little bit more meat around the bones. We'll start to speak now. Now, the trick is they only have 20 minutes. So we have to be fast, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, go. Go, go, go. If you see my hand, raise your hand. If you see my hand, raise your hand. I give you to high five your partner and say, I want to see you this day one day. Okay, find a new partner back to back. Find a new partner back to back.
Okay, you guys, so we'll be having time, so it would be great. You guys can find a partner real quick.
Okay, I hope we all have a partner. So, are we almost there? Okay, all right. So the question is, I want you guys to turn around, and when you guys turn around, introduce each other, and introduce each other by the nickname that the kids give you, okay? After that, I want you guys to answer the question, how do you build relationships with kids? Okay? Ready? Go. I didn't put it. 30 seconds. Okay, when you see my hand, raise your hand. I need to see some hands. Okay. Can I get a volunteer to answer this question? Anyone? Anyone? Quick, 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 quick.
Volunteer.
Right there.
Right here. All right, right here. I'm the runner.
So how do you build relationships with kids?
I think that it's very important to embarrass yourself in front of kids almost immediately
Essential.
upon meeting them.
Okay.
All right. So embarrass yourself. So Blanca, how did the adults in your life build relationships with you and around you?
How did adults build relationships with me? At the time, like Alex said, I was a very troubled child. So for an adult to come into my life, it was hard as it was. So what the adults did is little by little, they started to get to know me, to get to know the real me, who I really am, other than that troubled child who was doing drugs, who was doing alcohol, who was making all these mess. These people took the time to sit down and talk to me. Not about school, not about anything else, but me. What is important about me?
So in my part, the way they built a relationship with me was more not just sit down and teach me what I have to know, but it's more into share feelings and to know my family and not just be my instructor, but be my friend, you know? So whenever I needed help, I suffered a depression at one time. So that's when Alex came in and she helped me a lot. So it just takes a time when you build a relationship between what game you don't like, between which game you like. And that little detail will change a lot from the student because you already know a little more about them. And you already know how to treat them in the situation when it comes to.
Okay, then, question number 2. Find a new partner, back to back. Find a new partner. Quick, 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 quick. We have 15 minutes left. Quick, 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 quick. Back to back, back to back, back to back.
Okay.
Find a new partner, back to back.
All right, so the second question is, how do you know what the kids are, what the needs of the kid and the wants? How do you know?
And the person who is the tallest will start to speak now. Go. What do the kids need? What do the kids want?
Okay, 30 seconds. All right. Okay, if you can see my hand, please raise your hand. If you can see my hand, please raise your hand. Okay. All right, now I'm going to ask for a new volunteer. Anyone? 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 Anyone?
I have one here. One here. The next round you're on.
I could mostly just think in terms of an example. So I think what kids actually need is maybe nourishment, love, attention. But what they might want, that might translate as something like candy or cookies. And I think that's an example of differences between wants and needs.
All right, so needs nourishment, need attention, but maybe they just want candy. They want just games. Ben, how did adults in your life figure out what do you need and what do you want?
The way they figured out what was my needs and what was my wants, it was mainly Alex. She was my great mentor when I started in the leadership team. So she figured out that I was going through a situation where I needed support, where I needed counseling, someone to talk to get out of the community and experience something new that will help my depression to get a little more up. And where I come from, Oakland, you guys know a lot of kids suffer from depression, but nobody knows it because they're scared to speak it out. So that's one of the things. My needs is more like I love playing soccer. I love cars. So that's my hobbies. So that's what I need to just get out of that situation and get my mind clear and do my own little stuff, you know? So that's the way where my needs and my wants.
For me, at that time, I didn't even know what I want. At this age, well, back then, you know, when you're 16, 15, you don't know what you want most of the time. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what your purpose is, you know? So building a relationship with a kid that age is very important. It all builds up, you know? If you build a relationship with a kid, you will eventually learn what it is that they need. Because I didn't know what was necessary in my life to change the path that I was in at the time.
Find a new partner back to back. Really quick. Find a new partner back to back. We're running out of time. Find a new partner back to back. As soon as you do, please be quiet. Find a new partner back to back.
Okay.
Blanca, next question.
Next question. So you're going to turn around. You're going to introduce yourself again. And you're going to answer the question, what do you see in youth? What do you see when you see a kid? Okay? So I'm going to do the shortest person starts talking. Go. Okay. If you can hear my voice, match me. If you can hear my voice, match me. If you can hear my voice, raise your hand if you want to volunteer. So we're going to do right here.
Okay. The volunteer early. Where is it?
Right there.
So, how do you figure out?
When I see a kid, I see a hidden genius. And My goal is to help them find what they're a genius in.
Thank you.
A hidden genius. Figure out what genius they are. Benjamin, what did the adults in your life saw in you?
It all depends on the person and the personality the person has. I have some teachers, not especially teachers, but adults, people that are grown, have their track on life, and that would just see me as a troublemaker. I was a troublemaker because I didn't like to do anything. I didn't like school, so I would just wander around the halls and do whatever I wanted. But it just takes one special person to sit down with you and trying to find what's really inside you and what you could do with it. And this is what I'm doing right now. So I'm building relationships with my students and taking that first step to become a leader. And in my classroom, it's one of the main skills that I have to make them all a leader. Even though if it is a background leader over those curtains, or if it's someone here in the leader doing this stuff here, or organizing an agenda for a next class, or introducing a new idea, or presenting. It just takes the right person and one opportunity to step out of your line.
What did adults saw in you?
I'm going to keep this answer very, very simple. Those adults saw in me what I didn't see in myself. And that's what we all need to do. And that's what I am doing now. I'm seeing in those kids what they do not see in themselves. Okay.
Find a new person, back to back. This is the last rotation. Find a new person, back to back. This is the last rotation. As soon as you do, please be quiet. As soon as you do, this is the most important question of all.
Okay. If you
Find a question back to back. Ready, Ben.
So the last question for the day is going to be, how do kids build their destiny? How does kids build their destiny?
How do you help kids build their destiny? How do you help them build their future? Go. Ten seconds. All right, if you can hear my voice, match me. If you can hear my voice, match me. If you can hear my voice, match me. Thank you. One more and last volunteer, please. You want to volunteer? Yeah?
I've been volunteered. What I think is most important is helping kids find their authentic voice that's from inside, not what their parents want them to be or their teachers want them to be or the world wants them to be, but who they know that they are supposed to be.
Yes.
Beautiful. Finding their voice. Blanca, how did the adults in your life help you to find your destiny?
I was exposed. I was exposed to different careers. I was exposed to different things. I was in all the areas. Alex put me in the most uncomfortable positions you guys do not understand. And that is what helped me. Once I chose what I wanted to do, she gave me the tools, and here I am.
Benjamin, how did you find your destiny? How are you still finding your destiny?
I'm still finding my destiny, to be honest. The way I'm still looking for it is how people like Alex opened one door, and then once she opened that door and checked what I was doing, so I started doing that again so other people could open more doors for me so I could experience more stuff. So that's when now I'm in college. So I'm majoring in criminal justice and youth development. Criminal justice because I like not the police brutality at all, but it's just more like it takes that leadership step of keeping someone safe. And the youth, because I love youth, that's what I do. I grew up doing it, so I really enjoy it, and it's a pretty fun time to make an impact on someone's life. And my hobby, I love cars, so that's how I build my destiny right now. But I'm just open to whatever comes in my life and experience new stuff, you know? So it just takes that one opportunity for someone to open the door for that kid so he will experience a little more. And in his mentality, he will be, oh, so I do this, I will get this. And he will experience a lot of stuff and not be in the streets or something. You just take the right person. That's all I can say.
I'm going to ask you to sit down because we're going to do a review. You the style well, I review. So sit down, and we're going to do the final review. So Blanca is going to tell you the four ways how young people develop character, okay? Be sure that you learn them well.
All right. First, it's important to build a relationship. Second, what do you see? What do you see in those people? What do you see in those kids? 3, what do they need? And last, how do you help them become what they want to be? All right? So I'm going to ask really quick, right here, what's the first one?
Michael, come on.
Build relationship. Number two, back there. No, you. What they need. Number 3. Let's go right here. What do you see? And what's the last one? Can everybody just shout it out? The last one. Yes. How do you help them become what they want to be? Okay, one more time. We're going to do it all together. What's the first one? Relationships. Number 2. What do you see? Number 3. And number 4. Yes. Thank you guys so much.
So you guys notice, it's just real quick. So the relationship is like a 4 steps. So you have one first step, second step, and third step. It's just gonna build one great relationship with the student. So that's the message we guys trying to make here. So you guys could open more doors for students, even though by just playing soccer and being in a soccer team. That's a great sport, and it's guaranteed that kids that play sports are guaranteed to graduate from college 20% more. So it's just one little door open for one youth. So.
All right, so now you have heard from the experts. The experts was to sit down there and be asked questions by you. They were both afraid about the question, and there's nothing that these two cannot handle. So make it rich and make it wild, because they also are the next generation of us, the youth developers in training. So, questions. Don't be shy. Those are shy, huh?
Shy or everything is clear?
Okay, there's one here.
I don't know where this question came from. What are you thinking about becoming parents at a certain point? How do you feel about that responsibility?
That's a good question. For me, working with kids, I work with elementary school kids, so that's like far from my plans, having kids. But I definitely want to apply everything that I learned and make sure that I don't make the same mistakes my parents made. I want to be a better parent. I want to build those relationships that my parents didn't build with me. I want to be that parent that my parents were not with me.
My way is, I'm not gonna have kids right now, definitely not. But once I graduated from college and have my career going, so that's when I'm gonna start thinking about that. But it's just, it takes, for me, the way I see it is, my parents didn't went to school, they don't know how school is, or how to read a book, or how to write a letter. So it's really hard for me because I didn't have that support in college, or even middle school or high school. So my goal is to just walk with them through the process of high school to college, and if I can, to support their career too. So that's the way I see my kids and the way I want to raise my kids.
There's also one thing I want to mention. I'm glad you asked this question because I really want to talk about this with people, and I just didn't find the opportunity to do it. But, as I was growing up, I'm only 20 years old, All my friends have kids. All my friends have 2 to 3 kids, And I grew up thinking, I need to have a kid right now. I'm staying behind. Everyone has kids. Everyone already built a family. And I came in this environment where there's a bunch of professional people, a bunch of people thinking about the future, a bunch of people that are like just craving to succeed. And I was like, I was staying behind, and I was thinking, I need to have kids. I need to build a family. I need to be a housewife. And I was so wrong. And now I'm so thankful that I'm here, and I'm thankful to meet people like you that inspire us to be better people and to change the way we think, because, God, that's all I can say.
Any questions, right? There's one, and then we go to Femi.
So sometimes as guides, we help people who have had similar paths or backgrounds than our own, and we can heal and teach and guide through our experiences of what healed us and what led us. I'm curious, in your interactions with youth now, have you come across stories, situations, realities that are pretty different from your own, and how were you able to help them?
The way I do it, in Burciaga Middle School, we have the hardest position in Oakland of having foster kids from the border that come from the middle, South America to the United States, and they don't have parents. So I really relate for them because I ask the questions, and this is my way to build relationships with them. It's like, so how you got here? How long have you been here? How was your childhood? And some of the kids were like, oh, I spent 3 days in the desert by myself. And I'm like, I went through that. So it just sort of relates to more, I open doors for them to express themselves and to just ask for help and not stay quiet when they're getting bullied or they're getting bothered by someone, you know, and especially the language, because they don't know the language, so they feel like they don't have no one to talk to or no one to report to. And I open those doors, so whatever I can do in my hands, I open those doors for them. So that's the way I do it.
Let me also, because this is the question of, I was very lucky that I got to teach kids who speak like me with an accent or are immigrants, but the best educators that had the opportunity were actually middle-class white women. And people put a lot of effort into finding bilingual educators, right? And you have to remember that 90% of the communication is nonverbal. And so why are we focused so much in whether they can speak the language? Because the non-cognitive skills actually are non-verbal skills. The caring, the loving, the being present, the going the extra step, you know. I'm gonna embarrass somebody in the audience, but Stacy, for all purposes, is a hell of a white woman. And she's probably one of the biggest allies of young people of color, because it's the ability not to see what you can offer, but what kids need, which is different. So the educators cut themselves short when they say, well, I don't have that to offer. And that's not what the kid is asking from you. So if you operate from where the kids are, then it doesn't matter whether you have their background or not. And Blanca had her probably more influence. I mean, I got Blanca literally to be involved in this at her senior year. 3 years before that, it was literally a white middle-class woman, Miss Rigori, who saved her life. And Miss Rigori has no idea what it is to grow without a mother, you know. So 90% is the non-cognitive skills are no verbal skills, are highly emotional, intuitive skills. Family.
The one or two, I'll stop yelling, one or two character strengths that you have that have really contributed to your success. Because when I see two very successful young people who are on their way to even more success. And so I just want to know, like, what character strengths got you here?
You need to be able to feel for others, even if it's not your experience. Like she was saying, you know, sometimes you can't relate to someone. Not everyone's story is the same. Not everyone went through the same thing. But if you can feel for that person and you can say, you know what, I feel for you. I'm here for you. I think that's what's getting me. That's what's got me where I am.
For me, it's more like relationships and the leadership and support that I have. When I build a relationship, it's like I'm gonna help you do this, and then I'm gonna support you to do this. And I just, especially for my youth, is more and my friends, more like, so this is what I want to do because I know it's right. I'm not telling you to do none of the same things, but compare how I'm doing it to what you're doing, so you can have an idea of how to do it right or how to do it wrong, or you could do it better. So that's how I do it.
And I can say Blanca is incredibly professional, and she's very good with timekeeping and organization skills, and Ben is an incredible hard worker. His work ethic is, he makes me feel lazy and very people. Okay, what is the other question? I have somebody, oh, right here.
I'm wondering, sometimes it's, there are some kids that are hard to reach, and you really reach out and you keep trying and you keep trying, have you ever had that experience where someone was reaching out to you and you maybe didn't let them in, but then what was it about them or about the way that they reached out that finally made you willing to connect or attempt to connect with them?
That's a great question. I just had a situation with one of my students that, well, he's not my student, but he's in my after-school program, and he's in the basketball class, and I teach the soccer class, and there was an accident that happened between basketball, and he was injured, so I helped him, and then he got to a situation where I had to take him home. And in that 10 blocks away from the house, just build this, he just like opened himself to me, and he wasn't the bad student, but he was the student that I was like, so we have something going on between me and you, not being as friends as should we be. So that situation of just finding those little ways and those little spots to just get in, and that's when you're gonna spread yourself. And now we're super cool, and then we just, how you doing every day changed someone's life. So that's how I do it.
Sometimes just, like he's saying, hi, how are you doing? Just letting them know I'm still here, even if you don't want to let me in, I'm still here. I feel like it's a matter of time sometimes. It's a matter of time before they let you in, Eventually, I feel like we all need someone to go to. We all need someone to help us and to shield us, to tell us we're there. And it's just a matter of time.
Last question before we close this.
So in your kind of progress of, learning mindset change that maybe happened, was that more of a gradual thing where slowly these things happened and then you kind of realized your mindset had changed? Or was there one sort of incident or one interaction that kind of changed your perspective?
For me, I feel like it's still a work in progress. Sometimes I do fall back and I'm like, oh, hold on. This is where I was before. I need to bounce back, So I feel like, it wasn't just something that just happened, oh, I'm going to change my mindset. No. It's something that happens with time. It's something that happens, seeing other people's experience has changed my mind so much, I was an intern at Children's Hospital for about 3 years. Just being there for those 3 years, seeing what these kids were going through, I was just like, what am I crying about, Like, he's fighting for his life, and I'm crying for my mother. Like, I need to stop. I need to, set my mentality straight, So it's a work in progress. I don't think that anybody is perfect, and I think that it's something I'm still working on today, and it's something I will still be working on tomorrow.
Yeah, the way that happened to me, it was more like, so I'm looking at my family, and I'll see no education at all. No one graduated from high school or elementary school, only except for 1 or 2 uncles. And I'm like, something's wrong in my family, in my generation of the family. So I'm the first one in my mom's side and my dad's side to go to college, 4-year college. So that's where I started noticing that if I get my education, I'm gonna have my own business, and I'm gonna do my career, then I'm gonna support my family. So it gets sometimes to those situations where you fall back or you're suffering from depression the way I suffer, and then you're like, but you have a family that doesn't have no education. So you cannot be in depression all the time. So you have to get out of there, go to college, and build something for your family and yourself in the future. So that's the way I do it.
So we're going to close with Benjamin, Blanca. In the room, there's people that control millions of dollars of resources in after school, control how after school providers are trained, are directors. You are the product of 5 years of after school experience. So if you were to say, please do this, I want you to end saying, if you walk out of here, on behalf of the young people that you serve, please do this, what would that be?
For me, yes will be support. A lot of students don't have support, and that's what leads into depression. I didn't have the support, so that's how I end up there. And that's when I started reaching out, and that's when Alex came, and I got a little more support. And I think support is one of the things that just relaxes in your mindset, because you're like, so I don't have no one, so I'm alone, and that's when people get there, and they don't know what to do, so that's when they start joining the gangs. And I just feel like the support is my support that I have from all over the place, friends now, mentors, and other instructors. I feel like that's enough for me, and to go to school and have my own class and do whatever my students want to do in their class. So, yeah.
For me, I guess it's just invest your money in the right place. What I'm trying to say is, like, get the right people. Sometimes I felt like, a lot of times, like back then, I would feel like the wrong people were teaching, you know, the wrong people were in those schools or whatever. And once the right person came along, it was just like, why did you pay this person to do that, you know? So invest your money in the right place, you know? Use that money the correct way. You know, don't use that money to say, oh, I just want these test scores to go up, you know? That's, a lot of the times, that is very important. I'm not saying it's not important, but also get people that are really dedicated to these kids, are really into education, that really, really are passionate about this, that aren't just there just because you want to be there, you know? No, because you are really passionate about this. That's what I would say.